scary part about being sick is the fact that I sound just like my uncle right now, and that's the tea. Hello, welcome to my video. If you're from my Instagram, I love you. If you're not from my Instagram, love you all the same. So, as the title suggests, I'm gonna be trying out JUVIA'S Place products for the first time. So I have 5 products here with me, and I'm basically gonna do a full face of JUVIA'S Place. Now, I did not mean for that to rhyme. I'm so sorry, I know that's so lame, but please stick around, I need friends. And on that pathetic note, let's get straight into the video. So right now, I'm taking this brick red shade, that's what it looks like in the pan, and I'm applying it into my crease, and we're gonna see how that works out. Full disclosure, I will tell you, I have tried JUVIA'S Place before. I've tried some of their eyeshadows. I can't remember which palette was it, but I've never owned any of their stuff ever. Not palettes, not any other products. My friend had one of their palettes and she let me try it one night when we were going out, and I immediately saw that their pigments were no joke and that they really brought it. But that was 1,000 years ago, so by now the formulation might have changed. I'm not sure really, but that's what we're here to find out. So right off the bat, as you can see, a really pigmented shade. I really do love it. Nice color payoff. It doesn't feel chalky. I don't have a lot of fallout on my face. There's just a little bit in the palette so far. What I will say is that the pigmentation is definitely buildable. So right now, the shade that I'm using looks a little bit darker in the pan than it does on my eye, but I'm sure that I can build it up to look just as dark as it looks in the pan. So for today, I got an eyeshadow palette, 2 multi-purpose foundation sticks, a lip balm, and a highlighter. And I can't wait to try all of those things out. Okay, so first of all, in the pan, this looks sort of more like a dark brick red shade, and on camera and in person, it looks way more orange. So that's kind of not ideal because now the plan I had for this look is kind of crumbling, but what I'm gonna do is just take a beige shade from this palette and try to blend out the edges as much as possible. Now, this eyeshadow, I used the shade Zakia. It's not a full-on catfish shadow. It's not a full-on catfish shade, as I like to call it. And by catfish shadow, I mean it looks completely one way in the pan and then you put it on your eye and it's literally a different color. That's not what this is. This is just a little bit more orange than I thought it was gonna be upon first glance. But that is okay. Plans change, and so we must change with them. Look at me pretending to be smart. It's probably the cough drops that I'm taking. So on the plus side, I took shade Kessie next. I hope that's how you pronounce it. And I just blended out my eye, as you can see, while I'm working on the other one. And it blended out like a dream. So now that that's done, I'm taking shade Kogi and just applying it into the very outer corner. Now that I'm happy with that, I'm just gonna smoke out the lower lash line. Now for the moment of truth, I'm using their gold shade called Nubia, and I'm gonna apply it all over my lid. Now, I did swatch this on my Instagram a couple days ago. You guys should follow me on there if you wanna, get the tea. And it looked beautiful. I fell in love, so I wanna use it today. Oh, that's how you're gonna come. JUVIA'S? Oh, is that? Okay, right. Okay, she came prepared. Please look at how pigmented that is. That's crazy. So I don't know if you can see, but I left a little sliver in the inner corner empty here because I'm just now going to use their highlighter in there and see how that works out. So I got the Tribe Highlighter Volume 3, and wow, okay. That's beautiful. So this highlighter gives off slightly more of a cool tone vibe, but I'm gonna blend it in with this gold and make that look really nice. I'm also popping the highlighter on my brow bone, and I did not wet my brush for this, and it's actually very pigmented. Beautiful. I'm pretty impressed with that. So right now I'm just adding a little baby wing to this look to help pull it together. Now this is not a JUVIA'S Place eyeliner, so I'm just gonna do this really quickly and then be right back. So now I'm just gonna prime my skin with my usual primer, and then we're gonna move on to foundation. That should be interesting. So since I'm gonna be the only one using this foundation, I'm just gonna apply it directly to skin, and then we're gonna see what this ends up looking like. Full disclosure, I did shade match myself only through their website, so it could be a total disaster, but We'll see. So first, I'm just gonna try and blend it in with a beauty sponge to see how that works out. If not, I'm gonna use a brush. Well, to be honest, I'm not crazy about the formula so far. Okay, so this is one layer blended out, and you saw how much I put on in the beginning. So far, I would call this light coverage. I'm definitely gonna build it up until I get it to look like what I want it to look like. And as far as the formula is concerned, it's a little dry for my skin. Personally, I prefer something just a little bit more, I know, wet. I know liquid foundation, you should have gotten liquid. No, but like, I mean, at least I prefer something that glides on a little easier. So, but okay, we're gonna give it a chance. We're just gonna, you know, I look like a professional clown girl, but okay, this is gonna be the second layer. You know what? You have to take into consideration here that I'm not the biggest fan of cream foundations anyway. I'm really not. I prefer liquids. So maybe that's why, but I'm just not feeling this. Although now that I applied this second layer, I feel like that second one glided on easier than the first one. I don't know why. It could be that the top layer dried up for me. Shade-wise, it's not a bad match. It's pretty decent. So now I just sprayed my sponge with setting spray, and I'm just gonna go over everything so I can hopefully minimize the textured look that this did give me. Bear in mind, of course, that any cream or stick foundations do make your skin look more textured than, for example, liquids, or at least they make my skin look like that. So, you know, I can't, you know, clock it for that because that's kind of what I was expecting. Now, I'm gonna let that sit, and while I do that, I'm gonna use the other foundation as a contouring stick. So I actually think that I will like this way more as a contour stick than like a foundation. So now I'm gonna try and blend it out with the sponge first of all, just because that gives kind of the smoothest blend. That's what I like to do.
Girl, look how orange you look, girl.
But if that doesn't work out, you know, we'll try other things. Obviously, it depends on the product that you're using, which tools you should use or which tools would blend them out best. So this blended out actually pretty nicely with the sponge. As you can see, that looks pretty nice and very natural. I'm always amazed at myself that I dare to say I look natural when I am in fact a clown from space, but you know what I mean. I love cutting the cheek like this. Oh, it gives you that little extra snatch. So I look really nice and sun-kissed in person. Now I'm just gonna use some concealer, the usual concealers that I use for the rest of my face, and then put on some blush, and then we're gonna move on to the highlighter, which I'm most interested about. So while I'm applying blush, this is a liquid blush, by the way, I need to tell you guys that I started watching Euphoria because I asked you on Instagram, what was it like? Like, was it really worth the hype? And you said yes. So I was like, okay, I trust you. So I'm watching it now, and I'm on episode 5, and that show is crazy. Do you ever apply an old product? Like, I'm applying a blush right now and see it on your skin and go, why did I ever stop using it? Because that's how I feel right now. This is such a pretty blush. Ugh. Right, so now for the highlighter, I'm just applying a little bit more to my inner corner, and then we're gonna go to the cheeks. Okay, so here comes the true test. And now I didn't wet the brush for this. Oh, that's really pretty. That's so pigmented. Okay, work. Yeah, I really like this. Although keep in mind that I am applying it on a wet base, so maybe that's why it's turning out to look so pigmented in just one swipe. But I mean, come on, highlighter. I really said I love this blush so much that now I'm using it as a lip color. That's a great little tip, by the way. If you want to use the blush as your lip color, it's gonna bring your whole face together, just because your cheeks and your lips are gonna match. So over top, I'm actually applying their lip balm, which could double up as a lip gloss because it's just that shiny. Okay, so final thoughts. First of all, we have the Magic Mini Eyeshadow Palette. I really liked all the shades that I used. The only little ding that I'm gonna give it is just because that first shade we used, you know, wasn't true to pan, so I didn't really like that because it derailed my look. Of course, I ended up making it work later on, but you know, that's a little ding for me, so I would rate this about a 9 out of 10. And I will tell you, I swatched about 2 more shimmers for my Instagram, just like I said, and the shimmers are out of this world. Such an incredible formula. Also keep in mind that I didn't have any difficulties blending this out, not the shimmers, not the matte shades, so that's a plus. So honestly for me it's a 9 out of 10 for the eyeshadow palette. Now on to the Nubian Glow Lip Balm in Coconut. Okay, so I really like this one. I've been wearing it throughout the entire video. It feels really nice. It sort of just feels like Vaseline. It's not too sticky, it's not too greasy. It's the perfect consistency. And what I like about it even more is that it does smell like coconut, but it tastes like absolutely nothing, which is such a huge thing for me, because sometimes when they add flavoring or scents to lip products, you know, you end up eating a lot of it and sometimes it just tastes like pure chemicals. This tastes like nothing, so I love that for me. Also, it literally could be used as a lip gloss. That's what I did. So for me, this is a 10 out of 10. And I know it's just the lip balm, but girl, I'm gonna get more of these. Now the multi-purpose foundation sticks. So I'm not sure how to rate these because as you saw, I had some difficulty blending out the foundation. And honestly, I think that might have been an issue with just my product. I think the top may have dried out. So that's something to consider, but with that being said, I'm gonna rate these separately. So the shade that I use for my foundation, I'd give it like a 4 out of 10 to be honest. And the shade that I use for my contour is probably, you know, maybe a 7, 8. Just because, again, I'm just not crazy about cream products in general, but I really liked that one. And you know what? Because I like that one so much, I'm gonna give the first shade another shot. I'm gonna use it again and see maybe it was just faulty the first time around. Last but certainly not least, the Tribe highlighter. This is a beautiful product. It really is nice and pigmented. You don't even have to wet your brush to give maximum pigment to this, which is what I personally love. So personally, I would say just don't skip this highlighter. Come on, it speaks for itself. And it's a lovely shade. The only just little tiny thing is that I wish it sort of had a little bit more dimension. A lot of times highlighters fall flat in the sense that they're just one color. This is like a champagne vanilla shade and I love it, but I wish it had some maybe gold reflex in it or some certain other reflex, but maybe they do have highlighters that are that. I just didn't pick up the right one. And keep in mind, I'm really picky when it comes to highlighters, so that's just a tiny little ding. But with that being said, I'd give it a 9 out of 10 and I'm definitely gonna use it again. And with that, we conclude today's video. So thank you so much for watching and listening to me, even though I sound like garbage. Please consider liking and don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!